everyone to the 2023 Law Week of the Asaba branch of the Nigerian Bar Association. And I must confess that Asaba, you guys look very good this morning. A round of applause for yourselves, please. Thank you. May I quickly invite one of my very good friends, Ann Agi Esquire, for the MBA prayer. We'll be upstanding, please.
Thank you, Dr. Nduka. The prayer. Almighty God, our Creator, we pray you to be with us in all our deliberations and to direct our endeavors so that we shall continue in all humility to glorify thy name and do that which is right and just for our profession, its members, our fellow men, and our country. Amen.
Thank you so much, and Age, for the MBA prayers. Now I must say that everything rises and falls with leadership. Some months back, thank you so much. We have a wonderful group of people who have put together this Law Week, this beautiful Law Week. I must confess that the stories of this Law Week is already gone viral. The pictures are all out there, and we'll be saying it all this while, even before we came here today. And a wonderful set of people put together this Law Week. And I must say, can you please give them a round of applause for doing a wonderful job. And so to welcome us today, I will be inviting the chairman of the Law Week of the Asaba branch, 2023 Law Week, one of my very good big brothers that I look up to, a wonderful and vibrant senior advocate of Nigeria, Chief A.O. Odum, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, to welcome us today. Thank you.
Your Excellency, the Governor of Delta State, my Lord, the Honorable the Chief Judge of Delta State, my Lord, the Honorable the President of the Customary Court of Appeal of Delta State, the President of Nigerian Bar Association, the Chairman of Nigerian Bar Association Asaba branch, learned senior advocates of Nigeria, distinguished resource persons and participants, gentlemen of the press, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the Nigerian Bar Association Asaba branch 2023 Law Week Planning Committee, Your Excellency, may I pause to say that this address is at page 4. It begins from page 4 of the program. Thank you so much. On behalf of the NBA Asaba branch 2023 Law Week Planning Committee, may I formally welcome Your Excellency and all of you to the opening ceremony of this epoch-making Law Week with the theme, Technology and the Future of Legal Practice in Delta State. This theme is apt. The influence of technology on legal practice is at once both disruptive and complex. The reality is that we can neither ignore it nor avoid it. In fact, we must not only embrace it, but we must also live it, explore, and exploit it. Fortunately, technology has come to assist us with better and more efficient ways of carrying out our professional duties. course of this Tech Law Week, we shall achieve the following by the grace of God. We shall explore the development and the current state of technology law practice in Nigeria with a focus on implications for lawyers in Delta State. We shall examine the intersection of technology, marketing, and the rules of professional conduct, emphasizing ethical considerations for lawyers. We examine the current state of technology adoption within the legal sector in Delta State, exploring how law firms and legal practitioners are incorporating digital tools into their practice. We hope to explore how female lawyers can leverage technology to enhance their professional careers and help drive gender equality in the legal profession. We shall also discuss the transformative potential of artificial intelligence, AI, in the legal profession with specific focus on the opportunities and challenges it presents. We shall delve into the potential applications of generative artificial intelligence in legal practice and how young and even senior lawyers can leverage it for career growth and innovation. We hope to discuss the regulatory landscape for data security and privacy in Nigeria, examining how these policies impact Delta State, and explore the implications and opportunities for legal professionals in the area of cybersecurity, data protection, and privacy rights. Foster a dialogue on improving regulations to address emerging threats and challenges in the digital age, while maintaining a balance with individuals' privacy rights that are most relevant and accessible for legal practitioners in Delta State, etc. The keynote topic, the power of policy in shaping legal technology, options for Delta State, carefully chosen by our lead consultant, Mr. Basil Udotai, is the veritable key to unlocking the door which shall lead us into this technology discourse and the anticipated partnerships for policy developments for Delta State. We have assembled 19 thoroughbred professionals and industry-wide practitioners as resource persons who would help us to clearly understand these issues during the working sessions of the plenary and 2 breakouts. There is also a special session on wellness for senior and old lawyers. This Tech Law Week aims at 2 goals. The first is to equip participants with the knowledge and application of legal tech for the due administration of justice and for private practice and livelihood. The second is to collaborate with the Ministry of Science and Technology, the Judiciary, and the Ministry of Justice to mainstream and institutionalize the lessons learned during this Law Week, and in particular, to develop a state policy and legal framework on data protection issues. We also intend to partner with the Ministry of Trade and Industry to develop for the state policy and legal framework on e-commerce. Our health work, public enlightenment campaign, and free legal clinic, and the welcome cocktail were packaged to kickstart this Law Week in style. And I thank you all for participating. The Grills Night is put together for relaxation and networking for participants after today's hectic working sessions. Tomorrow, in the morning, the Asaba branch football team shall trade tackles with her counterpart of the Benin branch in an explosive encounter. The annual bar dinner and awards night holding in the evening of Saturday is an evening of glamour and pomp of international standards. The Law Week shall be rounded off on Sunday with a Thanksgiving service, and thereafter we shall embark on charity outreach to orphanages. These events have cost a lot of sleepless nights of planning as well as money. We're grateful for your kind donations and attendance. I urge you to sit back and enjoy every aspect of this Tech Law Week. To God be the glory. Once again, may I thank Your Excellency and the distinguished guests and participants. Thank you.
Technology has made research very easy. In fact, I believe that most law firms still bother with the hard copies of law reports for inspection, chamber inspection, where they want to apply to the rank of SAN. Thank you so much, Leonard Silk, for this beautiful work already done by your team and for what you still intend to do for the Asaba branch of the Nigerian Bar Association. A round of applause again for this wonderful team. Thank you so much. And everything rises and falls with leadership. So months back, I was here for the commissioning of the e-library of the Asaba branch of the Nigerian Bar Association, which was sponsored by the Honorable Justice Idigbe Foundation. Now, one of the benefits of having a very young, vibrant leader is that he understands the trend. Leadership of this branch, by commissioning that e-library, now has the moral right to lead the conversation on technology and the future of legal practice. May we, with a resounding applause, welcome the chairman of the Asaba branch of the Nigerian Bar Association for his address.
Please permit me to adopt the protocol list already established by the MC and my boss, Mr. A.O. Odum, Senior Advocate of Nigeria. This is the welcome address presented by me at the opening ceremony of the 2023 MBA Asaba Law Week on Friday, November the 23rd at the conference hall of Orchid Hotel. An abridged version is at page 6 and 7 of the brochure. It is my pleasure to welcome everyone to the 2023 edition of the Nigerian Bar Association Asaba Branch Law Week, which is holding today. The Law Week is the flagship event of the MBA and a key feature within the 2-year calendar of every successful MBA administration. It presents the legal practitioners with a unique opportunity to interrogate issues affecting the profession and to continue to seek new and innovative ways of delivering value-added legal services, value-added legal solutions to clients and other users of legal services. This year's Law Week has attracted so much interest from the legal community in Asaba and beyond, and even amongst non-lawyers, particularly people in the technology space. And it is worthy of note that we have eminent personalities here to grace today's event with both their presence and their contributions to the discourse. With the theme Technology and the Future of Legal Practice in Delta State, this year's Law Week literally aligns with the thinking of this administration from inception, which is elevating the status of lawyers and members of the Asaba branch and improving their practice to a pedestal where they can compete favorably with their peers in the big and commercial cities in and out of Nigeria. It was our goal from the beginning to give our members all the exposure and edification they will require to aspire to their highest potentials. Driven by the passion to see our lawyers excel in a modern world, early in our administration, we agreed to adopt and integrate technology in our processes as a branch. For ease of payments and to improve transparency, we have fully digitized our payment systems and dues collection at the branch and discouraged the collection of cash. In July of this year, we sought the collaboration of the family of the late Honorable Justice Chukwunwike Idigbe and established an e-library and resource center in his honor at the MBA Bar House. The e-library comprises of 16 workstations, 10 pieces of all-in-one desktop computers, loaded with some electronic resources, with a lot of space to load yet some more resources for the benefit of our lawyers. Power supply from an independent power source and a solar power station that ensures 24 hours power supply, fully air-conditioned room, and more recently, a HP LaserJet printer with capabilities for multiple printing, photocopy, and scanning per minute. And at our September 2023 meeting, we launched a brand new website for the branch, which will serve us in many diverse areas in our processes at the branch. The website, which was midwifed by the Law Week Committee, served as the gateway we used for the registration of participants for this Law Week. Unbeknownst to us, the Delta State Ministry of Justice and the Delta State Judiciary were also thinking technologically. With the amended Administration of Criminal Justice Law 2022, the Administration of Civil Justice Law 2022, and the Delta State Administration Arbitration Law, piloted by the Ministry of Justice, the Delta State government introduced innovative and far-reaching procedures that will be anchored on technology for their effective administration. The introduction of technology will certainly ease and bring some speed in legal service delivery in our justice sector in the state. And with nobody left behind, the Delta State Judiciary, under the able leadership of our amiable Chief Judge, Honorable Justice T.O.D.I., introduced landmark reforms in the administration of justice in the state with the adoption of the Nigerian case management system and e-filing, making the state among the few to adopt computer-aided justice delivery in judicial administration. In a world where change has become inevitable in our daily living, the law often plays catch-up with society, and we find that the traditional approach often fails us. For instance, technology has led to the development of emerging areas like artificial intelligence, robotics, space law, fintech, e-commerce, proptech, cybersecurity, data protection, and a whole lot of other concerns. Cross-border transactions are now concluded over the digital space at the click of a button, thus likely to raise jurisdictional problems. Robot lawyers are now used in some places to predict the outcome of cases, and concepts like smart contracts, blockchain, machine learning, and Internet of Things, which are alien to most lawyers in our part of the world, is gaining ground in the legal space. We must rise up to the challenge posed by these new ways of doing things, and through our skills, take our market share of the whole lot that is available. According to the legal colossus, the inimitable Honorable Justice Chukwudifu Oputa of blessed memory, the Supreme Court should always be alive to the idea that a society is organic. Even so should law be. Anything organic is subject to the law of life, which is either grow or die. We are either ascending the steps of life or descending into the precipice of death. For this reason, our Supreme Court cannot afford to be conservative, static, and backward-looking. For in a society laboring under the heavy shackles of poverty, corruption, ignorance, indigence, and want, there is really little, if anything, to conserve. The only alternative open to the Supreme Court, therefore, is a realistic and level-headed progressiveness. End of quote. More than ever before, the views expressed by my Lord of blessed memory not only applies to the courts, but to the legal profession and the legal community as a whole. We must be forward-looking and forward-thinking in our approach to practice. This Law Week provides us the opportunity to equip ourselves with the skills set to head into the future. We have lined up an array of brilliant panelists with vast experience in the area of law and or technology. I thank all our resource persons and panelists for accepting to participate and share their wealth of knowledge and experience to all of us who will be listening to them today. I have no doubt that the Law Week will stir up a revolution in a way many of us do things and upskill us with the right knowledge and tools to partake in the exciting future of legal practice awaiting us in Delta State. I encourage our resource persons and other guests to take the opportunity of their presence in the state capital to savor the beauty and richness of the reality of the saying, Asaba. For the socially minded, this Law Week will not be all work, speeches, and talks. There are a number of exciting sporting events and community social development aspects of the program. The health work / human trafficking and other social issues sensitization campaign in collaboration with the IOM UN held yesterday. In our bid to contribute to the environment, we partnered with Fade Africa Fight Against Desert Encroachment, led by the desert warrior himself, Dr. Newton Jibuno, to carry out a tree planting exercise yesterday. Our pro bono and Administration of Criminal Justice team, together with several of our partners from the Ministry of Justice and other NGOs, were on ground to provide free legal and counseling service to indigent members of our community who came to seek legal help. Yesterday's program climaxed with a welcome cocktail for all our guests, resource persons, and participants in general. Later today, the Law Week Committee will be hosting us to a top-class grills night to afford us the opportunity to unwind after a hectic day of talks. There would also be a novelty football match tomorrow, the 18th, between NBA Asaba and Benin. There is, of course, the prestigious law dinner. It will be a black tie event where dress code will be strictly enforced. Only those dressed formally in permitted regulation dress will be allowed into the dinner hall. We shall close the week-long event with a Thanksgiving on Sunday and a charity visit to the orphanage to give back some of what we have been blessed with. The Law Week Committee, under the able and capable leadership of my boss, Mr. Andrew Odom, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, I call him the seat of wisdom, Mado, has done a lot in terms of planning, beautiful ideas, good and proactive thinking, and much more in putting up this memorable Law Week. I cannot thank them enough and do not need mention all their names. It is already well documented in the brochure, but I must acknowledge the zeal and energy of Oluchi Uchebu. She was everywhere. Thank you. I cannot fail to recognize the Secretary of the Law Week Committee, DTM Nwarokba, and others who were co-opted into the committee to bring new energy into the committee. AP Maduemezie, Mwabezi Esiago, Neka Obiago, Chika Oranye, and others of my executive committee members who made themselves available for the committee work were superlative in their performance. I am eternally grateful. I want to use this opportunity to commend our silent partners in progress, ably led by the Honorable Chief Judge of Delta State, Honorable Justice T.O. Diaye. My Lord, the Chief Judge had to cancel an already scheduled Judicial Service Committee meeting to accommodate this opening ceremony and approved for lawyers to be excused from attending court for the period of this Law Week event. The Honorable Justice C.N. Orishedere Ojugbana, the President of the Customary Court of Appeal of Delta State, has been a mother. The Solicitor General and Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Justice, Delta State, Mr. Omamuzu Erebe, gave all his support, including mobilizing lawyers to register. Our senior advocates of Nigeria in the branch, they are a strong pillar of support to this administration. We run to them for everything, and they never chase us, they never lock the door. Right from the inception of this administration, I cannot name all of them. They are all seated in this hall. I thank you, sir. Chiko Nyemenem, I can see you. Thank you, sir. Peter Mrakpo, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, I thank you, sir. I can see CEO Erondu. Thank you, sir. Thank you for your support. I am eternally grateful to you, sir. May I use this opportunity to specially commend all our sponsors who made it a point of duty to provide their financial resources by way of sponsoring this event. Many of them, distinguished bar leaders in the branch, have become major pillars of support to the branch. They stood by me and the branch in all our activities from the inception of this administration. Your financial support and goodwill assisted us in no small measure to make today a reality. We thank you all. On behalf of the Asaba branch of the Nigerian Bar Association, it is my honor and privilege to welcome you all to the 2023 Law Week of the Asaba branch, and I wish you all a successful event. God bless you.
Thank you so much, the chairman of the Asaba branch of the Nigerian Bar Association. Several years back, I was addressing the courts several years back, and I had my iPad with me and reading the rules of courts to the judge. And my Lord got angry with me and said to me, "Why are you looking at your iPad while addressing the court?" And I said, "But my Lord, I'm actually reading the rules of court." So my Lord had to go and ask or request for the hard copy of the rules so that she could follow. That was several years back. Just about 3 years ago, I also had another incident. I won't say the state, but not Delta State and not Anambra State. Definitely not Anambra State. I was addressing the court again, and I cited authorities from Law Pavilion. Funny enough, the chairman of Law Pavilion is here today, and the MD of Law Pavilion is here today. A round of applause for him, please. And sadly, my Lord got angry with me and said, "I don't like Law Pavilion." And I said, "Well, my Lord, I'm not the one that makes this research. They do the whole thing. I do my research, and I refer my lords to." So what I did was that I went and printed the entire law report from Law Pavilion and filed it as a process and said, "My Lord, kindly look at this." And now the point is that the law profession, most lawyers, most of our judges still want to stay in the analog phase. So I want to thank especially Delta State Judiciary for what they've been doing to move Delta State forward and the legal practice. And I want to thank the chairman of the Nigerian Bar Association Asaba branch for all that he's also doing with regards to technology and the law. Another round of applause for the chairman, please. I will now invite the representative of the Solicitor General and Permanent Secretary of Delta State, Mr. Ben Ijoma Adigwe, for his goodwill message. A round of applause for him, please, as he comes up.
Distinguished gentlemen, I appeal to you to stand on the already established protocol. I stand here, my name is Ben Adigwe, to represent the Permanent Secretary Solicitor General of the Ministry of Justice, Asaba. He sends his welcome to all participants to this conference and reaffirm the support of the Ministry of Justice and indeed the team of lawyers in the Ministry of Justice that he leads to this MBA conference and indeed to all MBA activities. He sends his best wishes for the Law Week and its success, assuring the association of his support for the Law Week, and also to state that his doors are always open for support. Once again, he welcomes everyone to this important bar week. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. The representative of the Solicitor General, Permanent Secretary of Delta State. Before I call up the next person, one of the major feature of Nigeria and Nigerians is that we complain a lot. And after complaining, we do nothing about the issues that we complain about. Some years back, I think it was last year, someone who complained about the state of the Nigerian law school did something about the Nigerian law school. And he led his friends to put money together to turn around the infrastructure at the Nigerian law school. And we are grateful for that. Today, he's here with us to give us a goodwill message. And may I invite, humbly, Chief Emeka Ngige, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, the Chairman, Continuing Legal Education. May I invite you for your goodwill. And beautifully, his town is next to my own town. Welcome, Lenetio.
Thank you, MC. The representative of the governor of Delta State, my lords, the chief judge of Delta State, ably represented, my lords of the Delta State High Court who are here, the senior advocates present, my brother senior advocates, the presidential aspirants here in our midst, the Newi trio, and then the great members of MBA Asaba branch. Please permit me to stand on the protocol ably set by the chairman of the planning committee, AO Andrew Odom the Lion. Well, he took me unawares. He said I will come and give a goodwill message. I told him, well, am I here? Am I the governor? Am I the chief judge? He said no. I said, okay. And he said, he reminded me that I was wearing many caps as chairman of Council of Legal Education and as a member of Legal Practitioners Privileges Committee, a member of Body of Ventures. I said, well, I'm here in my personal capacity, but I will commit no offense to, in bringing a goodwill message to the esteemed audience. So let me start by appreciating the MBA Asaba branch for this Law Week that are packaged, and also for the theme of the Law Week, which is a very topical and very apt for the stage we are now in the world. There's nothing one can do without being getting involved with technology, one way or the other. Even the handset we are carrying is technology. The text message we are sending is technology. The WhatsApp group we join and abuse ourselves and entertain ourselves too, and also educate ourselves is technology. Email that you send your court notice of appeal now to your opponent is technology. So whether we like it or not, we have embraced technology. So what the MB Asaba has done is just to come and kind of hit the nail on his head by devoting their law week substantially to discussion on technology and law. So I commend them. And like the chairman stated, the chairman said the Supreme Court is showing some trace of conservatism in not approaching technology for filing of processes there. Well, what I can tell, I'm not representing the Supreme Court, but what I can tell you that most of the time when I come for meeting there now, I see the MD of Law Pavilion loitering around, moving from one section of the court to other. So I believe that very soon our prayers will be heard. Our prayers will be answered. Supreme Court will go technology, will go digital, in not only in the rules, but in practice. Because when you go to the Supreme Court, to the registry, and you see where the records of appeal are dumped, you know, you will shed tears for this country. All these governorship election appeals, pre-election matter, go to the registry and see where the records of appeal are heaped. And after bringing all those heaps of record, you will see come to court and they tell you that, oh, we can't find their brief of argument. We can't find their counter affidavit. Do you have a copy? The whole thing are heaped one side of the court. But if they have adopted technology, you send your e-version, come with your hard copy. And all the judges, they have their laptops in their presence. Once you refer to your brief of argument, when did you file it, they will press the button and find it there. Or their research assistant will help them. But that is not the case. But like I told you, seeing Mr. Okugasa in Supreme Court has given me hope that we shall get there very soon, sooner than later. Then I go to another area. I'm wearing a cap as a member of Privileges Committee. Most of you will recall that in the past, when you are applying for the rank of SN, you have to compile a record of appeal, something like a record of appeal. Some of them running into 800 pages. And you carry about 10 copies to the Secretariat of Privileges Committee. And you dump it there. The cases that you have done, the record of appeal of those cases. And then they will start sifting through to know whether you satisfy the requirement. And that is where I will say the manipulation and everything take place. Because some people, some applicants may come and repeat one judgment into 3. But because of the sheer number of records they are pouring through, they will not be able to detect anything. So it was like that until 2021, when one of our members, because I have to give him credit for his suggestion, one of our members, Dr. Jibade, now said at our meeting that it's high time we digitalize the activities of Privileges Committee, that we can't continue with this process of bringing hard copies. Usually, when we are holding the interview, they will now bring us all those 500-page volume documents. And if you are interviewing 30 people or 20 people, you have about 60 of them. Where will you have time to read them? So we just ask them questions based on general knowledge, not on what they submitted. So Dr. Ajibade suggested that we should embrace technology, and that was how the Privileges Committee now, in 2022, we adopted digital application for the rank of SAN. And the organization that did it for us, free of charge, was Law Pavilion. And that's how we started the process. People like Mr. Odum, they sweated when they went to the portal to upload their document. But in the end, it was very easy for us as members of the Privileges Committee to go through the documents submitted. Sometimes, if I'm abroad, all I need is to go to the portal. I will start reading the documents submitted and making notes. So it's no longer a situation where you tell lies or you hide some documents. So we were able to detect a lot of people that were not qualified. We were able to analyze the judgment they were relying on. For instance, if you want to be an SAN and you are relying on a judgment where the court said all your grounds of appeal are incompetent, and you now want that judgment to be credited to you for the development of the law, it cannot work. So we started detecting it. So that's why the number has been going down. It's a work in progress. So that, again, is kudos to the Supreme Court for accepting our suggestion for this exercise of the conferment of the rank to be done digitally. At the Council of Legal Education, it's also a work in progress. I've told my DG, he is computer literate, that I expect a situation where somebody applies for a transcript at the law school, and within 24 hours, the transcript is sent to the requesting institution. Currently, if you apply for a transcript at the law school, it will take you about 2 weeks, which is not supposed to be so. All the records ought to be digitalized, and then it will not take a second to get the information that is sought for. So we are also working on it, digital-wise at the law school. And then the NJC, I'm suggesting to them that they should adopt an approach by National Court, National Industrial Court. In 2021, National Industrial Court indicated that they have vacancies for appointment of judges. About 400 lawyers indicated their interest, and they invited them to the court. And what they did was they said, if you know that you know how to use your computer, your laptop to type, you don't need assistance. Come and stand there. If you know that you need assistance, or somebody will type for you, no problem, just stand there. Those that know how to use their laptop were maybe about 100. The rest of 300 were there. So they went to them and said, gentlemen, see you next time. So the other 100, it's just that you claimed. They now gave them an exam. Use your laptop and answer the following questions. And they gave them. Again, out of that 100, they got only about 30. So for me, that's how we should be. Because we have passed a stage where a judge will be depending on his secretary, confidential secretary, to type judgment for him. He will type, the secretary will draft, the secretary will type, he will correct, and they will be going like Justice Amina Augi was the one that showed the light. I met her as a judge at election tribunal, Failed Bank Tribunal, not election, Failed Bank Tribunal in 1997. That was when I knew that it is possible for some judges to type their own judgments without using their secretary. Justice Augi was typing Even that time, there was no laptop. She was now using even her own small typewriter, electric typewriter, to type her judgment. So I will urge lawyers, it is not a big deal to be technology savvy. If you don't know it, go to a small 1 week course and acquaint yourself with technology, how to use the laptop, how to use the system to improve on yourself. We all together at Paris for the IBA conference. And while we were there, a certain process was served on my office in Abuja that required a response immediately. And while we were there, I typed the whole thing, sent it out, and it was filed with Law Pavilion as my library, digital library, consulted them, and got all the authorities I needed. So I thank the branch for making it their team about technology and law. Without technology, we are going nowhere. And also want to commend Delta State government for what I have read, what I've heard they have done in the area of improvements in the e-filing, case management, and other things. So I thank the branch conference planning committee headed by Mr. Odum, SN, for packaging this assemblage of stars for this Law Week. And I believe that by the end of the day, all of us will go home fully educated, fully enlightened from the gains of this Law Week. Once again, thank you very much. I appreciate all.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Leonard, Senior Advocate of Nigeria. I remember some years back, I was at the Court of Appeal in Enugu, and incidentally, all the senior advocates that walked into court that day had a papa's cap. And the chairman of the Council of Legal Education also had his papa's cap too. And my junior turned to me and said, is it part of the requirements that if you are a senior advocate, you will have your papa's cap? Thank you so much, Leonard, Senior Advocate of Nigeria. Maybe after today, I will come for a papa's cap too. Thank you so much. May I recognize the chairman of Oshimili North Local Government, Honorable Innocent Ese Wuzie. My chairman, you're welcome, sir. And may I also specially, by the direction of the chairman of the Law Week Committee, recognize the managing director of Law Pavilion, Mr. Ope Olugasa. In Onitsha, we call him Openwa. Mr. Ope, you guys have made research easy for us. Thank you for all that you do. Thank you so much. Another round of applause for Law Pavilion. Now, one of the persons, apart from my father, who made me love the legal profession is Honorable Justice Briki Okolosi. He's a man I love so much. I would constrain myself from saying too much before issues of contempt would arise. May I invite the Chief Judge of Delta State, represented by Honorable Justice Godwin Briki Okolosi, for his goodwill message.
Thank you very much, the Master of Ceremonies. Permit me to stand on the existing protocols that have been announced variously today. I stand here representing the Chief Judge, who is unavoidably absent after agreeing to this couple of days for this Law Week because of what happened about 7 days or 8 days ago. The younger brother suddenly passed on. so she's bereaved. She sends her goodwill to the MBA Asaba branch, the chairman and members, and also to all friends of the MBA and guests who are here. My job is easy because a lot of the things have been said already. Delta State Judiciary found itself in the position it is today because we're contacted in February 2022 by the chairman of the Judiciary Information Technology Committee, that's Justice Kashim Zana, the Chief Judge of Borno State, that we should be the next online to adopt the Nigerian Case Management System e-filing program of the judicial policy of the NJC. And he was asked to nominate, the Chief Judge was asked to nominate a judge who will drive the process. And of course, the Chief Judge immediately called me and said, you are to drive the process. So when I begin to hear about technology, in my own history, my own story, in about 1999, I was introduced by a friend to the computer. I love the computer somehow, but no training on it. He asked me if I will love to buy a computer, and I said, I don't have the money. Judges then, in 1999, were not, today we're still not rich people, but at least we're comfortable in some respect. So my friend told me, okay, not to worry, I will supply you one, I will be paying small. And I immediately started learning how to type. I had wanted to learn typing about the time I was in law school in the early 80s. But somehow, just like ideas we have, visions we have, at times we don't push to do them. But this time around, I had to do it. I was given a desktop, and I was able to produce a ruling in 2000. My first ruling in 2000 by myself, which I typed. I still remember very well, the late CEO Akpangbo was counsel in a case in my court, along with late Christian Scott Amakbo. When they saw that on the day I delivered the ruling, I gave them copies of the ruling, they were surprised. How did it happen? So that is my own personal story. And I think I'm saying that, thank you very much. I'm saying that because since the adoption of the Nigerian Case Management System and e-filing, the number of cases filed in Asaba have suddenly dropped. I can say it very well because you will ask me, I'm not the chief judge, but I know. Why do I know? I work with the chief judge moment by moment. In fact, when we go on the first time we went on prison visits, the chief judge asked me to stay back on one of the occasions so that I can help to, as the admin for Asaba, I can help to assign cases. So I know the volume of new cases that are filed. I'm not talking of old cases. But since 26th of September, well, 20th of October was when e-filing stopped. 26th was when we now started, we did the 24th or so was when we did the launching. But we started the real collection because of some network issues on the 26th. So let us say from 26th, e-filing started. Since that time till now, I won't tell you about the number, but the number is appalling in terms of the number of cases filed. I suspect that because we are afraid of the computer, because we are afraid of what has to be done, divorce matters, fundamental right that used to be so many in Asaba Judicial Division, you can easily go to the next Judicial Division and file. I'm sure that's what is happening. I don't need to go to find out first before I will know. So I was discussing with the chief judge yesterday. I said probably instead of going to Warri and Efrun, which are the next big judicial divisions, we will just do the ones around us first, so that we will not know where you will run to. Because if there's any goodwill message that you bring to us as lawyers here, is to tell us not to be afraid of the computer. I learned everything I learned about the computer alone. I didn't go to any school. Because when I was given the computer, what I did was to buy what was available then, what Microsoft had on disk, and I started playing them and started following them. And after learning, I was even able to teach another colleague, a senior colleague for that matter, who is retired now, Justice Ehiwaru. And by the end of that year, he was calling me his professor, because he even went beyond me and produced a Christmas card by himself that year and sent to me. So I was a good teacher of the computer also, and I didn't go to any school. So you can also do the same, particularly those of you who are heads of chambers. I was discussing with the lady who is in charge of confirming chambers registration yesterday. It's only about 30-something have come. Heads of chambers in Asaba. I'm not sure there are only 37. And when we're talking of those in Asaba who are supposed to register chambers, it's not only 37, because there are others who are from around the area, even from Warri, who file cases in Asaba, who also need to register their chambers and get your legal mail. So we need you to do that. And because what is stopping us from moving like Bayelsa that covered the entire state, Borno that covered the entire state in one go, is because of funding. And I must say this here, the commitment of the Chief Judge, even in spite of funds appropriation for this project, to be able to get out funds to buy the necessary materials, computers and others that are needed, internet access for the kickstarting of the Nigerian case management system and e-filing. She has been very supportive of it, in spite of the funds not being available. And that is what is making us not to deploy to other areas. We have approached, His Excellency is here, represented. We've approached His Excellency to enable us have more funds, either in our budget or as cost of collection, to see that we are able to go around the state all at once. One other thing I will say before I sit down, whilst we were pursuing this goal of digitalizing the Delta State Judiciary, we also found that, because if you are going to stay in your chambers to file a process, that means you have to also pay from the chambers. It meant too that automated collections must now also be carried along with it. As a matter of fact, one idea has brought so many things at the same time. So much so that yesterday evening, before I came for the cocktail, the CJ was saying, look, don't talk to me about money, because I know when you want to say anything now, you are going to talk about money, you are going to talk about money. But I just found that from just wanting to do Nigerian case management, we have now gone into automated collection. Because in trying to now register one payment solution provider, government saw that, was impressed upon that there's a lot of revenue leakages. And that means that if we introduce this, it's going to help to close all of those places where money is going to people's pockets. So it meant too that government now went forward to say, look, we will not just stop at giving you permission to collect money in Asaba for the e-filing. Just let this man take over the whole of Delta State to collect all the court fees, fines, and other things that is going on. And that means that we have to deploy more equipment to make that possible. Because if you are paying in Asaba, it's no problem, because we have the computers for the NCMS already in place. We have printers. We have internet. So the cashier can easily confirm your payment. But what if you go to Ogwashiku? What if you go to Akukwigbo? What if you go to Ibuzo? Or go particularly the cashiers in the various registries to also confirm payments. It's large. It's huge. Then we also talked about e-affidavit and e-probate, which is happening, which is a solution that has been introduced in a few of the judiciaries in the country. That will also require that we have a proper website. Before now, we have no proper website for Delta State. So it meant yesterday, happily, last week we got approval of our judiciary.dl.gov.ng. But we also found out that we needed to pay money. And I couldn't go before the chief judge to say we want to pay another money. But somebody now said, look, if it's a government website, you ought not to pay. So yesterday, the whole of the work I did in my chambers from morning to about 3, 4, was writing the letter, a new letter now to the NITDA, to now allow them to be our hostmaster, so that we don't have to pay the yearly renewal fee. And the beauty of digitalization again is this. I sent my email a few minutes past 3. Finally, after consulting with those who are assisting us, I sent that email. The next thing I saw a text in my phone. Confirm that you are the one who sent the email. That agrees with what you are saying. Response time is shortened in a matter of minutes. And I just sent the test. Happily, my phone was in front of me. I said, yes, I have been appointed by the chief judge to see to the digitization of the processes in Delta State. So that is why we're asking for you to do what we have asked for. He said, thank you for responding. Before the close of work today, your website is going to be registered. And before I left the office, I received the communication. I said, wow. Before now, what we were doing before was communicating through NERA and another provider, a accredited registrar. And everything just went just smoothly. So today, we've paid money now to get the VPS and also the security. So I can say before Monday, we will have a running website, and e-affidavit will be a solution that we're going to bring in, and also e-probate. So what am I saying? Where we have lost revenue before to the registrars in their little corners, we are not going to lose that money again. The money is going to be captured. In fact, after we finished the prison visit on Wednesday, I took permission from the CJ to remain back in Warri and got somebody from the accounts department to come to talk to the cashiers and the registrars in that area. And by the time they finished talking, I said I wanted to be present also. So I went there because I was admin in Warri and Efron, and those two people were there, and the magistrates court and the revenue court, registrars and the cashiers. And you need to see their faces. They were not happy. Even this morning, I saw that some of the money, because right now with the automation, I can see how much is paid. I see some of the names of the chambers already paying money. I saw Chike Onyemena, SAN, chamber paid some money yesterday. It's so beautiful. So we can tell government this is how much we have gotten. So don't look at us as a small area. Your Excellency, we make a lot of money. We are not supposed to make money, but because we render services, we also, payment is also made for those services. And what we are doing is to capture every money that is paid so that it does not go into private pockets, so that we have more to digitize the Delta State Judiciary. So once again, I want to congratulate NBA Asaba branch for these bold steps in promoting technology and bringing that knowledge to your members. God bless you.
Thank you so much, Honorable Justice Ricky Okolosi. Thank you for leading the charge in this revolution in Delta State. And we believe that with you in charge, that the whole system will not be messed up. because we have one terrible knack in Nigeria. A beautiful system is set up, we know how to spoil the entire system. Thank you so much for what you've been doing for Delta State. Another round of applause for the Delta State Judiciary. Thank you so much. May I recognize Mazi Afam Osigwe, a former General Secretary of the Nigerian Bar Association, and so many former things. You're welcome. And live bencher. Thank you so much, Leonard, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, for being here with us. May I also recognize Mr. Chukwuka Ikwazom, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, former chairman of the biggest branch of the Nigerian Bar Association, the Lagos branch. May I also recognize Mr. Tobenna Erojiekwe, the chairman, Continuing Legal Education of the Nigerian Bar Association. Thank you so much for being here with us today. And incidentally, the three of them are actually my in-laws. Thank you so much for being here today. Okay, I've been directed by the chairman to also recognize some eminent senior advocates of Nigeria who are here with us. May I recognize a very big giant brother, big and giant in every way, and his pocket is also giant too, Mr. Chike Onemenam, Senior Advocate of Nigeria. May I also recognize Mr. Peter Nrapo, Senior Advocate of Nigeria. And may I also recognize Mr. Chijoke O. Erondo, Senior Advocate of Nigeria. Thank you so much for being here with us today. The keynote speaker was well chosen by the Law Week Committee. While I was writing my PhD thesis in cyber law, his name kept coming up because he has pioneered a lot of things when it comes to technology law in Nigeria. Mr. Basil Udotai is a founding partner of Johnson & Wilner LLP, a business and technology law practice. He is nicknamed the father of technology law in Nigeria. A round of applause for him, please. He was the pioneer director and head of the Directorate for Cybersecurity at the Office of the National Security Advisor. Before that appointment, he served as the coordinator of the Nigerian Cybercrime Working Group, where he led the government industry initiative that resulted in the legal and institutional frameworks created for cybercrime and cybersecurity in the country. Mr. Udotai was the first legal advisor of the National Information Technology Development Agency. He is a member of the International Bar Association and also a member of the Nigerian Bar Association. With a resounding applause, may we welcome the keynote address speaker, Mr. Basil Udotai.
Thank you very much, Doc. Oh, my Lord, I pray that I'll be extended the courtesy of being permitted to rely on the already established protocol, please. Initially, I was informed that the presentation would not be displayed, but just about 5 minutes before I was called up here, a certain young man came to me and said he could assist us. So I've given him the presentation, but nonetheless, I'm going to start since we've spent a lot of time already. And as soon as he's able to activate the presentation, we'll take it from there. I just want to say a couple of things as an opening remark. First of all, I must say, not only am I extremely impressed to hear our Lordship talk about technology, but I listened distinctly. He used all the proper technical language. It was extremely descriptive, and I was wondering if this man is really truly a judge. And if he is, how come we ascribe to Nigerian judicial officers this toga of traditional judicial officers? So this is an exception, and I hope this exception would eventually become the tradition. All right, so that was my first comment. My second comment goes to able chairman of the Council of Legal Education, a man that I have not yet personally had the chance to meet, but someone I admired from a distance for a very long time. So I want to share that I have a dream for the Nigerian Law School. And my dream is that the law school will cease to be a school. And the law school would only be a certification entity where examinations are set, curriculums are developed, and everything to do with the conduct of training and getting lawyers ready for practice, are done or is done, but leaving the brick and mortar establishment, cut it down to size such that the entity that is really handling the management of law training is very, very reduced and efficient. That way, law school can become a tablet, for instance, in terms of the training, and then all the law lecturers that have retired and are able to still function can be given licenses like they do in several countries to sit and establish shops where students can go and learn and undertake training and eventually would now sit for exams. This is what is done in New York, and this is what is done in so many other places. So I think that if we can take that on board and add to all the arrays of growth that we want to put out in law school, that would be very, very fantastic. I'm still praying for time to see if my presentation would be relayed, but it's not. So the topic of my presentation is the power of policy in legal tech and options for Delta. In my many years working in technology, I have discovered a truism, and that is that if you trace back the historical growth of every technology, every major transformative technology, you're going to find at the beginning of that initiative a human being, an entity, an initiative, or a policy that was broken, and we move towards that. In a few years' time, we'll come back here and celebrate the state as a state that has turned into a tech hub. Now, this slide here, I talked about Lagos. Lagos is not just a tech hub in Africa. Lagos is a global technology brand, recognized worldwide. In fact, if you show up anywhere in Silicon Valley and say you are a Nigerian, you live in Lagos, you are a developer, or you are an analyst, you are a cybersecurity expert, you would be given a chance to at least speak. That is the power of the brand of Lagos State. But did this happen accidentally? Absolutely not. If you go back, like I said, and look through the policy frameworks in Lagos State, you're going to find some actions, some deliberate omissions and deliberate inactions, some entities or government officials looking the other way when certain things are happening to enable what we now enjoy today as a brand of Lagos serving a global tech community. In fact, Lagos is the only city in Africa that boasts 2, almost 3 unicorns. A unicorn is a tech startup that is valued at $1 billion and above. So we have Paystack, we have Flutterwave, and we almost have InterSwitch. InterSwitch is almost there. There's no other city, and I'm not saying state now, no other city in Africa that has these attributes. And I have a report here, I know unfortunately we cannot see the slide, that in the last 6 months or so, Lagos has attracted about $1.5 billion inflow of tech investment, right? So the question I ask on this slide is the Lagos story unique? Can it be replicated? And which state has the tendency and the attributes that resembles Lagos in terms of resources, in terms of people, in terms of defiant attitude, and the aggressiveness to succeed? I mean, apart from my own state, Akwa Ibom, I have to be loyal. I have somehow found that Delta is that state. And as a tech policy guy, I've also known that in crafting a policy to enable tech growth, you have to leverage on your greatest strength, either as a country, a state, or a community. And I have a few examples. The United States today is a global tech behemoth because it leverages on 2 major attributes that are keenly American. They have a very strong R&D culture, research and development culture. If you go to universities in the US, some universities have more intellectual. So if you have an idea, and it's an idea that will work, you are definitely going to have money. So these 2 things are the things that every law, every policy, every process that America is thinking in terms of global competitiveness, are being leveraged on. Now, in the late 80s to early 90s, Europe discovered that the competition against America and China that was just beginning would be so steep that they may not be able to withstand it. So what did Europe do? They looked inward to say, what are the things the world will believe Europe to possess and possess naturally? What can we leverage on as our own tool and strategy for global competitiveness? And they discovered it is policy and regulation. So very early, I think in the early 1990s, they empaneled a team headed by a guy called Benjamin to say, how can we get our own region, not just a country, the entire European community at the time, to become a global force in terms of regulation and policy? That is why today, not only is the world looking at Europe for things like data protection and related regulation, the world is also waiting for when Europe would enact any kind of law or process or rule that would impact those policies. And Europe isn't just stopping at enabling or formulating these policies. They spend a lot of money. It becomes a diplomatic strategy. In Nigeria, they've spent a lot of money trying to get Nigeria to adopt the GDPR in a Nigerian cloth. If you doubt me, take the EU GDPR and put on your left, and take our recently enacted data protection law and put to your right, and see if it is not a cut and paste. So why is Europe doing this? Why are they forcing the whole world to imbibe their own concept of data protection when we have no similarity, nothing in terms of development, nothing in terms of research, nothing in terms of funding, nothing in terms of history? Because they want you to accept and allow them to interact and engage with you using their own strength. Now, what is China doing? China, I have a euphemism for what China is doing. It's called appropriation. So China would appropriate technology. I don't want to say the obvious. They will appropriate technology from anywhere in the world. They will take it in, they will innovate it, and they turn it into their own, what intellectual property rights lawyers will call enhancement. They would enhance your technology so much you will not even recognize it. And then they will put it out as their own. In addition to this aggressive tendency to appropriate technology on a global basis, China also has a strong workforce and a strong work ethic. These are the things that are going for China. Now, I don't want to keep going, but I want to ask a question. What is our own strength as Africa and as Nigeria? I have discovered that what we have against the whole world, bar none, is our talent. Nigeria's talent isn't just exemplary, it is demonstrated. All you need to do is to do a query. Who are the highest, the leading professors in North America? Don't say United States. In North America, in areas, just pick any area and keep going. You're going to see Nigerian names popping up everywhere. In my own small space of cybercrime, I always marvel at Nigeria's adeptness in social engineering and psychology, because that's what you need to be able to effectively dupe someone as a cyber criminal. I've also seen how Nigerians are able to turn things around. Nigerians have created an entire industry with their bare hands, and it has become a global phenomenon. Our Nollywood, our music brands. So all Nigerians need, all people from Delta State need, is a resonance, a resonating policy or initiative from the part of government to say, look, we now have taken cognizance of the fact that you are exemplary people, and we're going to put resources together using a state policy to energize you, to produce, to create, to do anything that you feel like doing that would support the state to get to the stage where we become a brand in tech. Now, I have here on this slide a few examples of what Lagos has done. The overall idea is that it is not accidental. I have a very interesting example, which is not even in my slide. Sometime in 2018, an operator, a telecoms operator, called me to say, look, they're having a lot of issues in Lagos State. So many landlords charging them for masks. You know, a family member A will come out and say he's the one that collects the lease for the family, and then next day family member B will show up, you know, and so on and so forth. That they're just really ripping them off. And some of them collude with others to steal their generators and just mess things up. And then before I handed up, he said, look, the greatest, this pales in comparison to the challenges we're having with right of way. Some people are charging 5,000, some people charge 7,000, some people 15,000 per meter or kilometer, and we are not able to meet this need. So we started a discussion. What became the Lagos State infrastructure law, where anybody that has right of way, any entity that needs to pay must only pay 145 naira. It was a Lagos intervention to enable infrastructure development, to enable infrastructure sharing. And I can point to you that there are so many states, including Delta State, that has not solved this problem. So what do you need? It's just a simple infrastructure regulation or even a policy. And I will show as we go along that a policy is one that is nimble. It's nimble enough for it to even be the body language of your governor. It can be the body language of the CJ, like my Lord had said. The CJ wants things to happen. Don't come to me about money. That's his policy. He doesn't have to write it down. So that what that tells everybody working to support the CJ is I need to show value before I go ask for money. That's really what policy is about. I don't want us to get confused with the formalities. Of course, it can also be formal. You get stakeholders together, have it drafted, but not necessarily. Not necessarily. All you do, especially in a country like Nigeria, where we run a government that resembles a fiefdom, a monarchy, where, forgive me, chairman of local government and the representative of the excellency, everybody looks to the head to say, look, what is he thinking? What is he doing? How do I, So because of that, it is much more pertinent that the head begins to display his tendencies, especially when they are positive, because you're going to rally your base to be able to support you and enable you to achieve all your objectives. But imagine if you can go a little further and actually put something down by way of writing and disclose that as your own policy, like the governor has done with his more agenda. And I also have a slide where I say, tech is more. All right? So if the governor can adopt these beautiful t-shirts, everybody wears it, tech is more, meaning technology is more. We would adopt technology to bring the governor's objective to reality. Now, the reason I brought Lagos State and I said their story is not unique is because I want to see if I can challenge Delta State. They want to say, let me see if I can take some of your food. Someone said something about being this, I think the chairman or so, when he was having a speech, said they want to be able to take some food from Lagos. So this is your chance, right? And I have an example. It's not something that has not happened before. If you're a Silicon Valley watcher, you will notice that in the last 5 years, big techs have started leaving Silicon Valley. Oracle has left, Google has left, Apple has left. Recently, Tesla, Elon Musk company, has left. Where are they leaving to? They're going to the state of Texas. What did Texas do? They wipe out corporate income tax. We don't want you to pay any tax. We want you to come in here and show me how many people you can employ, starting from 10,000, nothing less. And then we have so many other sweeteners for you if you would do this. And of course, that immediately contrasted with the very stiff tax, and regulatory policies of the state of California, and everybody started leaving, right? So, I'm not trying to start a war between Delta and Lagos State, but wouldn't it be interesting to see that Delta also begins to say, look, this is the Federal Republic of Nigeria. We are not just a state, we are also a sub-sovereign. The concurrent lease on the Constitution applies to us. So this is what we're going to do to attract development. This is where we're going to spend our money. Dedicate a percentage of your budget to say, look, this amount must go to this. And you will see this young teeming talent begin to display. I really, really believe that if we do this, we would see the fruit. In this slide, I say, can Delta become a tech phenomenon with a question mark? Oh, we're there. Please, you can move to the next slide. Yes. And I said, look, amongst its contemporaries, again, apart from Akwa Ibom State, Delta is not doing badly, right? Even you have great people brands. The guy helping me, can you move with me? Because I moved to the next slide. Yeah. You're not doing badly when it comes to your people branding. I know this is a very short list, but I chose people that would have global impact or a lot of money that you write S and then you put I to slash it. That's the kind of money that you need to move things. And there's also a short list. And so many of you here, especially the SANs with deep pockets, you can become the advocate, the tech advocate for Delta State, and really, really, Delta State can happen. If you doubt me, there's a small video stream on YouTube on the making of Dubai. It's not up to 30 minutes. Just watch it, and you would see that just one guy can decide to change everything, and so long as he has the right support system, that change happens. Provided you don't doubt the process, you are not attached to the outcome. You just do it on a day-to-day basis. It's like workout. It's like going to the gym. You know, I've been working out for the past 5 years, but when I started, if someone had told me you get to this level of fitness and I'll be looking every week to see whether I've gotten there, I probably would have given up. All you do is you find a routine that works for you and stick to it. And people are the ones that will tell you, oh man, you're looking so fit, what's going on? They say, oh, well, it's working, right? That's the same for an individual, is the same for a state. Lay the rules together, adopt the policy, and trust that it will happen. And then also, Delta is also lucky in the sense that I don't think there's a whole lot of political disruptions in terms of handing over from one party to the other. If there are, please forgive me. I'm not extremely political savvy. But that handing over is necessary for you to make sure continuation happens. All right, I'll move to the next slide. Now, this is where I came up with that idea, tech is more. Oh, by the way, you guys are all lawyers. So if I come to the state and see tech is more on anybody's t-shirt, you know, or it becomes a policy of the state government and I did not receive any alert, my friend Andrew Odom is hereby appointed, the SN is hereby appointed my lawyer to represent me in court to make sure I get my due. But I really believe that the agenda of the governor, if he zeroes in on tech as a strategy for accomplishing it, there is no doubt whatsoever that it will happen. Now, the next slide talks about policy. I like this, the left side of the slide where I talked about the character of policy, because I didn't want us to get so carried away because we're lawyers by the formality of it. Of course, policy is and can be formal, but not exclusively. So we just need to see that it is a decision, it's an indication, it is a resolution of whoever is vested power to allocate resources and use it for public good and use it to elicit some economic development and growth. That's really what policy is. And the CJ is a policy maker. You know, it's not just the governor that is a policy maker. The speaker of the house is a policy maker. Just like all men who are family heads are policy makers and all wives are policy makers. You know, policy really means, you know, judiciously applying the resources that is kept in your authority to do good and do it, and you're able to monitor and see that it happens. On the right-hand side are different types of policies. The most interesting one for me here is the redistributive policy. Policy is redistributive. It takes money from those that have and give it either to those that do not have or to causes that would affect those that do not have. I like that because we have a lot of imbalance, societal imbalance, where there's so many poor guys not able to eke out a living and so many rich guys driving, flying private jets. Now, this slide talks about the power of policy. I'm sure we'll recall when a certain president in the United States said, by this time in that year, America is going to send a man to the moon. It was an aspirational statement, and he didn't just stop there because he was committed. He said that at a place called Rice University, and then he went back to Washington, D.C., and addressed Congress on it. And then he started putting his resources together because he has already said it. And just about 9 years, even though he died before then, America landed a man in the moon. Even though, of course, there are a lot of conspiracy theories that say that that moon was someplace that was crafted and then was videos and all of that. Well, I don't buy that, all right? If you follow my strategy and trend, I always say, look, let's see the evolution that we're looking at today and trace it back. If America was just demonstrating that it went in moon, so how come it's hoisting a satellite, the International Space Center now, out of space, right? So even if he did that branding or marketing gig, he was able to remedy himself or itself over time, right? Now, you would hear many times when Al Gore was running for the president of the United States, I used to say that he invented the internet. Of course, it was a joke. He did not invent the internet. But he might as well the United States. And he needed to create a policy, an initiative, a law, because it was in the House then, that would turn around the internet and make it available for private commercial uses. And he worked very hard on it. He paved, he hit pavement, and eventually he succeeded. That law was enacted, and every one of us now have access, not just to the internet as a tool, but also as a commercial tool for business. So this is what it takes. So you can actually have this history elude you by just focusing on the technology of the internet and not seeing the policy side of it. Policy, as far as I'm concerned, is the most powerful tool that you can use to bring about any growth or development in this space. I've talked about the GDPR already, but for the state of California, it is very interesting that I think in 1995 or 1996, they came up with a law that said in 2003, 10% of cars driving in the state of California will be electric cars. They didn't just say that. They now created a fund and gave research institutes, the opportunity to get the money and conduct research. If you read Elon Musk's book, the recent book by Elon Musk, you see how this was interesting to Elon Musk. This is why Elon Musk actually got into driverless cars, because of that state policy, because of the grants that was made available. So there's no mystery around why do we have this, state of affair, why do we have this evolution. And the way my Lord is going, before you know it, whether with Law Pavilion or anybody else, I prefer it's Law Pavilion because they are my friends, but anybody else, the state seems ready to advance on the path they are going, and I have no doubt that they will get to that promised land, but it can be accelerated using the same tools, which I'm going to reveal in a few minutes. To also assure you that these examples we are drawing is not just foreign. We also have some local examples. I know we don't know this, but in 2001, there were two critical policies that were formulated and promulgated in Nigeria. One was the National Telecoms Policy, and the other was the National IT Policy, 2001. Without these two policies, we would not in 2003 have enacted the Nigerian Communication Act, or in 2007 enacted the NITDA Act. We wouldn't, because these two policies were the instrument that set us up as a country to have the appropriate legislation to bring the objectives of the policies to reality. So it can be done, it's been done and demonstrated. Now, if you also look at the CBN's website, so many things have happened now on payment and technology. You have to search to see the 2004 e-banking guideline of the CBN. That was the forefather, the grandmother of every payment innovation we're having today in Nigeria. Now, another thing a state needs to do, another thing a public institution needs to do, because I heard my Lord saying payments electronically. You need to show the industry that you trust this process. If the state displays any attitude that indicates that, technology is now what we're using, like the cashless policy, for instance, even though that's not a very beautiful example, you show proof that this is what we're doing now, you see industry rally. So it was President Jonathan, I think, who said that all government workers and contractors will be paid electronically. Because I've done the back tracing, and I can assure you that the revolution we're having today in payment in Nigeria can be owed to that. Because once they saw the volume of money a company called System Spec was making, others were incentivized to go into payment. So this is the power of a regulation or policy. The other one that I would like to point that has happened. Till then, we haven't gone back, and we've been improving constantly. I can tell you, because I served in 2 capacities within the NBA. First, was I chairman or member of the election review committee? I think I was a member of the election review committee. And then member of ECNBA, election committee of the NBA. And then I chaired the digital NBA. So these roles gave me the chance to see to what extent we have been constantly refining our election processes within the NBA. And to all my friends who are running this year, I wish you all the best. And I hope the technology works for our next upcoming president. There's also an issue I would like to clarify quickly, because I think I need to quickly wrap, right? I've been looking at the chairman, and he's giving me an indication that I should probably round up. There's this confusion between law tech and tech law. Is this a real confusion, by the way? Because I just got the impression that some people think, how is tech law related to law tech, and and so on and so forth. Should I address this, or are we good? All right. So tech law varies, and again, I got a little help from a little friend of mine called ChatGPT in preparing this slide. And I did that deliberately so that, again, let's push this message of technology. Now, so ChatGPT told me that tech law is short for legal technology, and it refers to the use of software to provide legal services and so on and so forth. And it gave some example: document automation, practice management, and so on and so forth. And then he went on to say, for e-judiciary or justice tech, electronic case management, online dispute resolution, e-filing, e-service, virtual courtrooms, data analytics, AI, access to legal information, that is e-judiciary or e-justice, what my Lord is trying to do. Now, so I also asked this, my friend, so who is a tech lawyer? And his answer is that a tech lawyer who is also known as a technology or an IT lawyer, is a legal professional who specializes in matters concerning technology, information technology, IP, data privacy, and so on and so forth. And he went on to list. I don't agree. Sometimes I argue with ChatGPT, where sometimes we fight. I don't agree with his list, but it's very instructive. I hope this clarifies. So if you're doing tech law, it means you are using your specialty, your skill as a lawyer to advise your clients in the area of technology. And you can do transactions, you can work with the court, you can work with government to help with regulatory and compliance. You can do transactions as well. In our firm, we do what is called legal development, where we work with National Assembly to read their legislative instrument, and so on and so forth. So this is what you do as a tech lawyer. Law tech, on the other hand, really refers to the technology that is used to enable the practice of law or justice administration. It's really as simple and straightforward as that. Now, tech is really an ecosystem. This is something we must always imbibe. You cannot, just like the technology network itself, because there's not a single technology company that is self-sufficient. The strategy of collaboration is baked into the tech ecosystem. You have to talk to someone. Someone has a hardware, someone has a system, someone has a software that is an application, someone has, so this, someone else will come and do security, someone will do audit, and so on and so forth. Someone owns a platform, and so every element of tech also has entities representing it. So if you're doing legal innovation, you have to look at the entire tree and all the branches. That is the only way you can look at this subject holistically. Assuming the state wants to take this charge, you cannot, there's nobody that you can leave out and be successful in your innovation project as a state. I included all these other slides to show that we are far, far behind, because I'm seeing statistics, 70% of lawyers, worldwide, have adopted tech, 40% of courts have adopted tech, and I keep saying, where are these lawyers and where are these courts? So I just put this to somehow intimidate us so that we know that we are very late. And I know that there's a session on AI coming, so I also included this. So you see, I don't know if you can go down to this slide where you have leading generative AI uses in court. You're going to see legal drafting and review is 76%. Go down a bit. Legal research is 69%, and so on and so forth. I'm sure this slide will be shared eventually. Now, I like this question. The next slide. Is law practice in Nigeria endangered by technology? People always ask me this. My answer is yes and no. Yes, but as an individual choice. You have to be the one to choose to stay relevant. You have to be the one to continue to reinvent yourself. We're tech lawyers today, but just like I've noticed in all tech, I'm a student of technology history. The electricity we use today was once a specialization, in the sense that someone will come and actually turn on your light. You will not touch it. The car we drive was once a specialization. You had to know how to pour the right amount of oil and the right amount of water to be able to drive. It wasn't for everybody, right? So, but over time, technology matures into what is called a utility. It is so intuitive that you can use it and forget about it. That is going to happen with tech. And do you know how I know? There's a 2-letter word called AI, right? So it's either you decide today that, look, you're going to embrace this as best you can. Don't try to be over-ambitious, right? Do what you need necessarily to be able to do those incremental progress on a day-to-day basis, right? Don't wake up one day and you say you want to support the CJ with tech law, or law tech. And don't say, look, let me go and draft an agreement for a client who is developing a software. You're going to mess up. You'll be like a criminal attorney who is trying to get a man out on bail on Friday evening in court. Like, that's a very sensitive time to play with someone's liberty. All right? The reason I believe the answer is no is because just like every history of technology shows, at the end, the society always prevails, right? The processes get refined, becomes more efficient, and the society moves on. But there's a very interesting aspect of this story that I need to bring to the fore. Our rules of professional conduct isn't only outdated, it needs to be completely modified. There's not a single lawyer in this room that has not violated the rule against advertisement. I dare you to say you haven't. So let's have a discussion, right? Okay, so we're going to have it. Look at someone. Afam, your website is the only indication that you have. Yes, I am telling you. All right. So rules of advertisement, if you read the rules again and say what you do, by just getting a website and putting your picture there and saying what you do, talking about, you have already violated that rule. So it's a high time we stop that. This, as a professional community, this is the most undermining element of our growth towards technology, our RPC. And I am here, I'm very happy to see Chief here. And Chief is a reformer from the things he has said. I believe that this will be taken on. I believe that this will be taken on. And I see all the guys. There's no way, let me be careful before I say this. Yes, I think that we have the next NBA president in this hall. I think so. And yes, I think so. I say that for two reasons. It would have been terrible if I was still a member of the ECMBA, right? I'm not anymore, so I can say that. I have no interest or ability to make anybody NBA president. The second thing I want to say is that the three guys who are in this hall are my friends, and if I toss a coin, any of them becomes president, I'll be happy. But the first thing I'll go visit them is the RPC and say, look, can we do something about this? Because what is happening is that there's a new kind of practice that is evolving, and it doesn't fit into any category of law practice. Some lawyers just set up a podcast and take a case and just analyze it, put in some comedy, and then it's amassing all these followers. In some countries, millions of followers. And by the time evening comes, because of the monetization, policy on this platform, they are getting hundreds of thousands of dollars. This practice is coming to Nigeria. Trust me. And when it does, because we're very creative, we're very talented, it is going to supplant a lot of the interests that we have today, because young lawyers are struggling. Because law is the only profession that I know where you cannot be emotionally attached to what you do as a practice. I had to suffer and suffer and suffer to say, look, I'm not going to just do the typical. I have to find something that has emotional resonance with me. And it took me 3 master's degrees, 3 continents, and I still was defiant. And it just when I gave up that technology law came to me. So I know this because it was a personal experience of mine. Young lawyers are struggling. Everybody's being pushed to this or that. They're going to find that one day they can actually be themselves. I recently saw a story of a young lawyer who was fighting with the NBA because she was expressing herself. She was deciding to be naked or whatever. And that's who this lady is. And it led to a whole lot of hoopla in the legal community. And I said, if only these guys know that this is a tip of the iceberg, right? The way we do is to create a true inclusive community. True inclusive. You don't have to agree with whether someone is gay or lesbian, whether someone is naked or clothed. You have to respect what they do. And you come down to a decorum. What should be the minimum standard of decorum for our legal profession, and make it respectful of people's interests. That's the only way you're going to keep these guys, right? Now, this is the real meat of my presentation. I'm sorry it's taking so long. What are the options for Delta State? I look at your administration of justice, administration of criminal justice law, and I was blown away. I was so impressed. I was like, who were the guys that did this thing? It's a superb piece of legislation. If you look to the right of the slides, there's not a single process that can be automated that has not been given the statutory backing to happen. None. Right? So the law went a little further and appointed a council as well as a board. Then stopped short of what is called the last mile. In technology, there's something we call a last mile. So this is what a last mile is. Assuming this is a mask, and this is a radio, and this is another radio. So maybe this is a shared mask, and I'm standing here. The last mile in tech is the distance between that mask and the device that I have in my pocket, which is my phone, right? If you don't cover the last mile, everything you are doing is a complete waste of time. I don't care if you're MTN and you have the most advanced technology infrastructure, you have the most modern radios, and so on and so forth. If you don't create that connection, you are not providing a service. You're going to go out of business before you know it. So it is the last mile that was left, and that's what I want to provide for Delta State. And what is that last mile? You have to create an institution. That's what you need to do. And when you create an institution, plan and manage a transition. And do it very boldly. Like, look, in 12 months, in 16 months, come up with a realistic plan and expectation. We're going to do away with papers completely. Completely paperless. You have to be very bold and extremely strict. Some people are going to suffer, like Chief said, when they ask some people to take exams, that's going to happen. But guess what? Society and criminal justice is going to advance, right? That agency will be given the responsibility to manage not just the administration of criminal justice law, but the other law on the civil justice. You create an agency. Maybe it can be under the Ministry of Science and Tech. It can be I don't care where it is, but let there be an agency that is given serious funds and tasked with the responsibility to go and identify the triggers for growth in this law and make it happen. The governor would say, I need a month-by-month report. Trust me, if you do this, forget about it. Not only would you be great as Delta, you become an envy of the other state that you guys are envying now. Or is it Akwa Ibom or Lagos State? Okay. All right, so these are my concluding remarks. I mean, just like success leaves clues, every tech innovation leaves clues, you know. That you contemplate. And it is how you do that that is going to determine whether you succeed or fail as a state in any aspect of technology, whether it is tech law, law tech, e-judiciary, or whatever. Thank you very much for giving me your time, and thank you very much, Chairman, for spending the time.
Thank you so much. A round of applause for him. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, the keynote speaker, for stimulating our minds today. Thank you for shifting our minds from the traditional to the progressives. And I think that if we don't take any other thing home today, I know that Delta State has been advised to please create an institution. And that is what we need. Another standing ovation for the keynote speaker. Thank you so much. I must confess that the planners of this Law Week have done noble. The array of speakers that they have, this is top class, wonderful quality. You guys have done well. Now to the next segment of today's proceedings. May I now invite the Governor of Delta State, ably represented by the Solicitor General and Permanent Secretary of Delta State, Omamu Esquire, to speak to us and then to declare this Law Week open. A round of applause for him. The Solicitor General and Permanent Secretary of Delta State. You're welcome, sir.
Good morning, everybody. My Lord, the Chief Judge of Delta State, Honorable Justice T.O. Diaye, ably represented by my Lord, Honorable Justice Briki Okolosi. My Lord, the President of the Customary Court of Appeal, Honorable Justice C.N. Orishederi, ably represented by the Chief Registrar of the Customary Court of Appeal, Mrs. Bridget Ojekere. You're welcome. My Lord, Honorable Justice Onome Masha Umukoro. My Lord, you're welcome. Various senior advocates of Nigeria, so in no particular order, I'm going to just acknowledge them in the way they are seated. My able senior advocate of Nigeria, Chike Onyemena, who has been with us in Asaba for a long time, and one of the persons we look up to in practice. You are welcome, sir. Chukwuka Ikazu, SAN, he was with us during our Administration of Criminal Justice review when we had at Leisure Park. You are welcome, sir. You have always been a friend of the Asaba branch. And of course, my boss, Mr. Peter Mrakbo, who was our former Attorney General, and who was the first person that actually introduced us to technology in the Ministry of Justice. Please, can we acknowledge him? He made sure the over 200 lawyers in the Ministry of Justice were given a laptop for the first time in the history of Delta State. He not only stopped at that, he invited Mr. Ope to bring his law pavilion to us, and all laptops were installed with the law pavilion for the first time. So please, we acknowledge you, sir. Learned Senior Advocate Mr. Chijoke Erondu. And every time I introduce him, I always tell the story that he was a year ahead of me in Uniben. And when the law faculty, they were conducting an election for LOSA, he contested, and I voted for him. Unfortunately, he didn't win. But he's somebody that is dear to heart. So you're all welcome, sir. All gentlemen of the bar who are present here, I was hoping we could see a fuller hall, but let's take it the way it is. I acknowledge every one of you that has made the sacrifice to be here. So before I make His Excellency's remarks, because once His Excellency speaks, no other person says anything, let me just say from my own personal few comments. I want to first acknowledge the chairman of the Nigeria Bar Association Asaba branch, Mr. Precious Wandimoy. I think he deserves a round of applause. A couple of years ago, I was chairman of the Law Week Planning Committee, and you were my secretary. And we went through hell trying to get the Law Week organized. But what I'm seeing here today could actually pass for a Nigerian Bar Association National Conference. And I say this because we have two of the gentlemen who planned just the last two conferences with us here. Mr. Tobena Erijokwe, Mazi Afam Osigwe SA, and they are all here. They will confess that what is happening here today is of the highest quality. Thank you so much. So thank you all. Of course, I won't forget Mr. A.O. Odum. Where is he? I thought he was with me just now. Yes, he's the chairman of the Law Week Planning Committee. Together with your team, you've done a fantastic job. I must commend you. I know it took a lot of resources, it took a lot of time. You devoted your time, so you deserve all the commendations you are getting here today. So let me make the remarks of His Excellency the Governor. Unfortunately, he's unable to be present here physically because going on at this time is a government retreat for all members of the State Executive Council, and governors from other states are also attending, so His Excellency has to be personally there to receive them, and that's why he's not here personally. But he has asked me to make a few remarks. Before I go on, let me acknowledge Mr. Basi Udoita. In fact, I told him that we are going to hijack that his paper, and it's a signpost. Tech is more. I don't know whether we'll pay you the money, but but it was an enlightening paper. Now, in Delta State, technology has always been key to us. So you hear people say always that because technology evolves at a very fast speed, the law is always like 10 years behind technology. So it's always like we're catching up to technology. But happily last year, I must say that our law caught up with technology. And I say this because last year we passed the Administration of Criminal Justice Law, which Mr. Basi has just commended. We also passed the Administration of Civil Justice Law 2022, and also the Arbitration Law 2022. Those pieces of legislation are actually 21st century driven laws. And it was done under the leadership of the immediate past Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice, Mr. Isaiah Bozimo, who incidentally is taking sick on the 27th of this month. At every opportunity we have, we always commend him. And when those laws were passed, based basically on those laws, he was invited as a guest speaker at the last MBA conference. I myself, I was invited as well, but basically on the basis of those two laws. So technology has always been key. It's only a legal practitioner who does not want to see growth in his practice that will shun technology. It is imperative, and the MC gave a very good analogy. He said he was citing an authority from a computer, a phone. I know that in years past, when you open your computer in court, they'll think that you're a madman. What are you doing? In fact, some judges will even, don't disturb me with this. But these days, that's what goes. So Delta State has actually caught up with technology. And like Mr. Basi said, we intend to make this state a hub, an investment-friendly hub, to ensure that investors come to our state and make us better for it. So please, if you have not gotten a copy of our arbitration law, please try and get it. It's the arbitration law, the civil procedure law, and the arbitration of criminal justice law. All make provision for technology. And it is the way to go. Having said that, I wish to state that, like I said initially, we have been extremely proactive in leveraging on technology, on our laws and court processes. And we intend to do further. I know that in Delta State, it may not mean much to those in Lagos, but we've already started delivering judgments online. I was privy to a judgment that my Lord Honorable Justice Marshall Umukoro delivered. And incidentally, a few days after that, a friend told me that one of the lawyers said he's going to write a petition. Why will the judge deliver his judgment online? I was like, is this man in the 21st century or in the 19th century? There has to be a mindset change. Our lawyers need to know that legal practice is not the legal practice of 1980 or 84. Technology makes life easier. Having said that, it's my singular honor and privilege on behalf of His Excellency the Governor of Delta State to officially declare the MBA Asaba Branch Law Week with the theme Technology and the Future of Legal Practice in Delta State open. And I wish everyone a fruitful deliberation in this law week. Thank you so much.
A standing ovation for the governor of Delta State, represented by the Solicitor General. Thank you so much. Thank you for the comments. You may be seated, please. Thank you for the comments. Thank you for declaring the Law Week open. Without wasting much of our time, because we are actually behind schedule, I would like to invite the Secretary of the Law Week Committee, Dumebitina Makwe, Esquire, to give the vote of thanks.
Thank you, MC. Please permit me to stand on the existing protocol already established by the chairman, NBA Asaba Law Week Planning Committee, Mr. Aodum SAN. On behalf of the chairman, NBA Asaba Branch, the NBA Asaba Law Week Planning Committee, and the members of the NBA Asaba branch, I stand before this distinguished gathering represented by Honorable Justice Brisky Okolosi. We say a big thank you to you. We profoundly express our gratitude to my lords here present, Leonard Silks, our esteemed speakers and panelists. Your willingness to share your knowledge, expertise, and valuable insights has illuminated the minds of all those in attendance. Your contributions have not only enriched our event, but has also furthered our collective understanding of the legal and tech world. Your dedication to the cause of legal education is commendable, and we appreciate you for your time and effort. We say a big thank you. We won't fail to recognize our moderators and coordinators. God bless you all for your time and dedication towards this course. A special note of gratitude goes to our exceptional organizing committee. Your unwavering commitment, tireless effort, and meticulous planning ensure that every aspect of this event runs smoothly. Without your dedication, this event wouldn't have been a success. Our sponsors and partners deserve a resounding appreciation as well. Your generous support made it possible for us to bring together a diverse group of individuals passionate about the law. Your belief in the importance of legal education and community engagement is truly heartening, and we look forward to future collaborations with you that will further our shared objectives. We want to express our heartfelt gratitude to all the attendees, whether you're a student eager to learn, legal practitioners seeking to enrich your knowledge, or members of the public interested in the law. Your active participation created an atmosphere of intellectual exchange, which was the very essence of our vision for this event. Your enthusiasm breathed life into this event, and we are very grateful for that. We say a big thank you. We would also like to acknowledge our friends and family who supported our endeavors, the mentors who inspired us, and the colleagues who worked tirelessly behind the scene. Your support has been immeasurable, and we thank you for your unwavering encouragement. Conclusively, we are deeply moved by the collective effort and passion that have made this Law Week event a resounding success. Your presence and support mean the world to us, and we sincerely hope that the knowledge and the ideas shared during this event will have a lasting impact on us as legal practitioners, our communities, and as well as our nation as a whole. As we move forward, let us continue our commitment to the pursuit of justice, the dissemination of knowledge, and the promotion of the rule of law. Once again, we appreciate you for being a part of this extraordinary event. Kindly accept our warm regards, and we wish you safe trip back to your various destinations. Thank you, and God bless you.
Thank you so much. The Secretary of the Law Week Committee. Ladies and gentlemen, you will agree with me that today has been an illuminating one. And without you here today, today would not have been a success. Can we kindly put our hands together for ourselves for making today a wonderful occasion? Thank you so much. We are now inching closer to the end of today's opening ceremony, and I will ask that we'll be upstanding for the national anthem, please. Thank you so much. But we'll be seated, please. Thank you. We'll be having a photo session. Okay. Okay. Okay, well, the chairman of the Law Week has directed, and he has asked me to tell you that there is food. So do not be in a hurry to go, because they've made arrangements for everybody to eat and eat very well. We will soon be going to the next session immediately, which is the plenary session. I'll be asking that those who are meant to put this in place should be fast about it so that we can go into the plenary session. While that is being done, I would ask that the photo session takes place immediately while they are arranging the stage for the plenary session. So, the governor, the chief judge, and other judges who are here present today, Learned Senior Advocate